Physics is not just a subject, it's way of life. We have the privilege of speaking with a brilliant physicist who is at the forefront of cutting-edge research in the field. So sit back, relax, and get ready to be inspired by the incredible work of my guest, Dr. Khalid Sultan. Welcome to my podcast on physics and science, where we explore the fascinating world of scientific research and discovery. As a student of physics at Central University of Kashmir, I am excited to have the opportunity to interview one of the most esteemed physicists and educator in our university. Today, I am honored to have with me Dr. Khalid Sultan, an assistant professor at Central University of Kashmir, whose research focuses on synthesis, characterization, and irradiation study of rare earth transition metal oxide systems. Dr. Khalid Sultan is recipient of numerous awards and fellowships, including the Junior Research Fellowship jointly conducted by CSIR and UGC and the Best Oral Presentation Award at Science Congress in 2013. He has also been recognized as one of the outstanding PhD students in India and was facilitated by the Honorable President Shri Pranab Mukherjee. In this podcast, we will be discussing the role of physics, modern physics in society, the challenges and opportunities of promoting science in Kashmir, and exciting research that Dr. Khalid Sultan is doing with his colleagues at Central University of Kashmir. So, without further ado, let's jump right in and welcome Dr. Khalid Sultan to my podcast. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, this was a formal introduction which I give to my viewers. I would like to start from the beginning of how your interest got developed in physics and how you reached where you are currently.
Actually, to begin with, without exaggerating the stuff, the schooling was normal like it is to most of the kids here in the valley. We opted science after the class 10 in dream of doing medicine. But somewhere you don't fit in medicine, or your interest get diverted at the plus 2 level, you get interested towards the mathematics or physics, and then you continue from there onwards. You obviously go for the college, and then you join the university, and especially once you are having the physics and mathematics at plus 2 level, you are mostly inclined towards physics, because at least now our opinion might be different regarding physics, but in that context or that point of time, you obviously look from an average citizen or average student I'm talking about. He looks from the job perspective. So maybe at those point of time, physics promised to be as a good job provider or a better opportunities among the various other subjects. This is where from it starts. But once you join master's level, at least as a student in physics, then obviously there is obviously at some point of time some teacher involved in motivating a student towards your physics. Similarly happened in my case. In our class 12 level, there was a physics teacher with studying, in fact, tuitions at him, and he was a professor at that time. And I guess he was like me, also a motivating factor to various other people for opting physics. So the journey started from there. I guess the role of teacher is somewhere hidden there.
So again, जैसे लोग कहते हैं हर एक सक्सेसफुल आदमी के पीछे टीचर का हाथ होता है, so I can come up with कि आपके केस में भी वही था. In masters, you got inspired by teaching.
Yes, exactly. Somehow you have to be a good teacher, has to be a motivating factor in at least motivating some of the students towards that field.
Sir, now coming to next, जैसे मैं बात करूँ नेट की, it's a very prestigious exam and not everyone's cup of tea. So how you prepare for it? उन दिनों इंटरनेट का इतना भी नहीं था कि इतनी अवेयरनेस भी नहीं थी, इतनी वीडियो लेक्चर्स भी नहीं थे, and you were a ranker, you qualified NET and then fellowship. So what was the reason, how you managed to crack that exam? What were the key points?
Yeah, actually, it's not only about the net. Obviously, especially once somebody comes into the academics, especially in sciences, and if he or she wants to do some job in India, this net exam is an important exam for the student. At least if he wants to stay in India and apply jobs here. I guess it was 2010, 2011 once we were preparing for these exams. So especially in subjects like physics and mathematics, so qualifying this NET, JRF or GATE, these type of exams, it was normally tough. Once in a while, some student may qualify it, but it didn't happen on a routine basis. And obviously, we're not fully exposed to the these exams, what is the process of these exams, and in fact most of the students from our batch were not familiar with the syllabus even. But obviously there was one of our senior qualified net exam in the physics during that time, and it at least sparked others that it might be a real possibility. And then we started it. Obviously it did take time. It didn't happen in the first attempt. It did take time, but finally it happened. Obviously it finally happened, and then we made it sure that it happens again and again, just in order to prove that it was not a mere coincidence.
So that to prove that legacy is still there.
Yeah.
अच्छा सर, अगर मैं बात करूं आपके टाइम की, जब आपने नेट क्वालिफाई किया और आज के टाइम की, व्हाट डू यू थिंक जो हमारे कश्मीर का एजुकेशन सिस्टम है, हाउ मेनी पीपल विल बी एबल टू like how many students in your opinion, in your experience, will be able to crack such prestigious exams, considering the age of social media, considering the age of distractions and kind of like anxiety around the social media and this kind of lack of confidence in students. So क्या लगता है सर आपको कश्मीर के students कहाँ पे है?
Actually, you see, just to have a rational approach towards it, not being biased towards the Kashmiri students, because we have traveled to other parts of the country and to the other parts of the world as well, and without being biased, I'm happy to say, in fact, that the Kashmiri students are capable. There is no doubt in that, and this is not I'm not, as I mentioned earlier, I'm not being biased towards the Kashmir, being a Kashmiri. So this is a fact that they are talented, they are capable, like most of the other students are. Obviously there are some setbacks, there are some hindrances that maybe a couple of years back or even now there might be some opportunities which we are not accessible to, like we may not have public libraries here. Like even in our university, if I talk about, we're not able to provide the 24-hour facility to the students where they could student the campus life. The students come at 10 and leave at 4. This is normally not how the university should do. Obviously, there are things to work on, but the problem I see here is currently, especially for people studying science, that you need to develop a level of patience. Things are not going to come overnight. There is no shortcut to success, especially since you're talking about the social media type of stuff. On an average, if we see, the concentration time has decreased because of the social media. Even in earlier cases, it was thought that a person could focus on a particular subject or a particular notes for at least 30 minutes. But with the passage of the social media coming into the play, now the average concentration time has decreased up to 6 or 7 minutes. So that's the distraction social media is bringing about. Because if in earlier days you see that one would wait for the full day to hear the news in the evening, and currently you would, after every minute or after every couple of minutes, one would be just surfing the Facebook or other social networking sites to know how. So the patience level has decreased. Now, in this context, especially if a student wants to pursue science as a career, so obviously, or research as a career, a patience needs to be developed, because see, it's not like there are some other professional courses, maybe engineering, whether after class 12, if you study for 4 hours, you may land up in getting some job somewhere and start earning and start living your life. But in science, this is not going to happen. If you want to pursue research as a career, if you want to pursue science as a basic science as a career, obviously you'll have a lot of patience. You'll have to do bachelor's, then master's, then qualify a couple of exams, then the PhD, and now since the competition level has gone up, you may need to go for the postdoc type of stuff, and then to land in some good job.
तो सर अगर मैं अभी कश्मीर की बात करूं या पूरे इंडिया की बात करूं, I want your opinion on the background of physics, like what physics has played role, or what in general science has played role in upbringing the country, in upbringing the society, and especially modern physics. What is your opinion on this?
See, as far as physics is concerned, the world has currently become a multidisciplinary type of stuff. So you don't have separate physics, separate engineering if you look at the global level.
Yes.
But even at the basic level, if you talk about the engineering would be obviously incomplete. I'm not exaggerating physics, but obviously engineering would be incomplete without physics. In the other branches of the science, like even the biological sciences, the medical science students are studying, the x-rays you do, the ultrasonography you do, this is all physics is in one way or the other way relevant there. So that's one point. But as far as the modern science is concerned, now currently especially the Asian countries, where especially if you talk about the countries like Japan and China, they are more involved in the device fabrication, because they are more involved, their science is more involved in giving it back to the society. Unlike here, even in India, even this basic science, forget about this physics only, this is still being done to, just to have some theoretical understanding of the things. Whereas in other countries like China and Japan, currently they are more focused on device fabrication. They are more involved in the nanotechnology, and where they are working at a multidisciplinary level. So if you have a company there, they will hire a physicist, they will hire a chemist, a biologist possibly, and an engineer possibly. And this is a multidisciplinary type of stuff currently going on. And as far as India is concerned, see, India has a huge population, and obviously in India there are, I guess, the most number of people. India would be among the top few there, where most number of people are doing science. Obviously, once you have a lot of population, you will have greater percentage in every domain. So a lot of people are doing science, and obviously one unfortunate thing is there, most of the bright minds from India are going abroad for better opportunities. So brain drain is going there. So that's there, but obviously science is progressing.
India is somewhere in science.
Yeah, India does have a significant role in the current scenario of the science.
Sir, if you predict, like after a decade or after 20 years, where are you seeing Kashmir in science, and where are you seeing the whole nation, India, in this science?
Especially if you talk about the Kashmir in particular, obviously we are at the disadvantage in certain aspects, because see, you have to be very practical in life. If a student is pursuing science, obviously if a student is especially doing some research in science, pursuing PhD or postdoc, obviously he need to be mentally stable and obviously financially stable as well. Because you cannot have great ideas once you're not able to feed your belly. This is a common sense.
This is the basic definition of your success.
Yeah.
I remember.
Yeah. So in that context, suppose if we are not able to provide jobs, so the most of the people in science are not getting jobs, and you cannot expect the government to provide jobs to all people. It's almost impossible for any country for that sake. The disadvantage this part of the country is at, we are yet to go privatize in this sector. In sciences. But if I remember, I had a friend, Florian, from Germany. Once he was pursuing PhD, where colleagues in Delhi were at least for a couple of months there, and he was not interested in academics. He was not interested in joining some government job back in the country. So he was working for a company. Even in Singapore, we see there are a couple of companies. A-Star company is a well-known setup there. So they hire people doing science research in basic sciences. They sponsor them, and for their PhD, and once they complete the PhD they have to serve the company back. So these type of privatization, they explore more options for the job for the people doing basic sciences. But once these options we don't have it there, so almost all the people who do research or who do postdocs from Europe or US, they are dependent on the government for providing their jobs, and which is not happening. So that is, I guess, somehow demotivating the students from opting science.
So, sir, you talked about this opportunity about research and this. So tell me about your research work. Where are we? And please, you mentioned this Singapore. I would like to hear, because you had a recent visit to Singapore University, National University of Singapore, and you met a Nobel laureate there. And I just want to know about this whole journey. What was your experience there?
Obviously, I guess, in fact, last month I visited Singapore for a conference, and I was fortunate enough to visit the National University of Singapore also, which happens to be among the top leading universities of the world. And obviously the work culture there and the work culture here, there has to be a lot of difference, and there is, and we should not shy out from it. There is a lot of difference. Exactly. There's a lot of difference because our university or this part of the country, this is still developing. So obviously I met Professor Kotso, as you rightly pointed out, who was awarded the Nobel Prize for Graphene in 2009, I guess. And to be honest, I found there that they are ready to collaborate. They are ready to work with us. Obviously, they need good people. They need young people. They want energetic people, obviously, to take science forward. Obviously, this legacy has to continue, because if they had played their part for promoting science globally, they want young people to come and encourage them, and they're almost able to provide you everything. But obviously one thing is there, so because I tried to explore some global collaboration with people there, which might help students from our part of the world to visit these places, and obviously it would benefit one and all, at least from our part of the world. But obviously the competition level is currently high. You need to be above average. You just cannot expect that things will fall into your bowl. Maybe down the line, before 20 or 30 years, not many people would go for the science or research, and then obviously everyone would get a job, everyone would set at a better place. Now, since the more people are applying for every stuff, so you need to have a better mentorship at a proper level, and proper time and proper level, because once you get into age of 30s plus, then you start of thinking about these things. It's not gonna happen then. At least at your bachelor's level or master's level, you need to have a proper mentorship with proper people who know people around the world, who might help you in landing at better places. Because one thing I understood from there, it's not only the intelligence that matters, but it's actually the connections also in current world which matter. Because you need to know people, you need to request people, you need to apply to people for different positions. Because here, if you are also a student in this university, you might have experienced it as well. Here, even when students complete their masters, they don't have any idea about what to do. Yes. And even if obviously they have aspirations to do, but they don't have idea what to do. They don't know anybody. They don't know even, suppose, where I have to apply or in which field I have to apply. So in fact, we had actually the process of giving the project to the master's students or the bachelor's student. It is actually for the purpose that they get connected to one particular faculty or professor of their department, who might expose them to his field of research to the other part of the world as well. That's the proper prospect of the project actually, which we give to the master's students. Obviously, it's not fulfilling it is 100% focus as of now, but I would recommend the students to at least select somebody as mentor from your faculty in the university, and through that step, try to explore other options in the world, because there are plenty of options available in the world. You just need to have a proper mentorship to help you.
What, sir, as you mentioned mentorship, what is the role of connections? Like this is the age of social media and internet has made us global village. So now everything is in our palm. I mean to say, I'm talking about connections. What is the importance of connections in a student's life? Like if I have to land in some university, I should be knowing someone whom I will wrote cold email or whom I will send a message, cold message, or whom I will send a cold call. So what is the importance of connections and how we should approach to the faculty? How we should what should be our attitude and our approach for getting an internship or getting hired in this particular field?
See, let me keep it simple. See, if you just try to search on the Google, this is not going to happen because nobody is going to respond to you. Exactly. Or hardly 1 in 1,000 people might respond you, and that too very with minimum possibilities. What I would suggest you in that case is, as in fact I discussed earlier as well, that you need to select at least you need to have some faculty as your mentor. But because obviously your faculty would have done PhD in research, you need to select somebody because he would be knowing some people around, and your faculty might get you some at least tentative project, because you should have something in hand which you would send some people abroad, because what will they evaluate? Because they might receive 1,000 mails per day. How will they evaluate whom to select? So you need to have something in black and white. You need to have some project rough draft in writing. So that can be prepared with the help of the faculty mentor as well. So faculty mentor, this Google type of stuff cannot replace that. So that would be your starting step for building connections, your faculty mentor, that has to be there. Then the second thing is obviously even you should not get, one should remember that we should not get demotivated, because we might have an egoistic approach that I mail to the professor or a scientist somewhere, sitting in some lab, he didn't reply. Obviously you will not get replies. Even we as a faculty, even if we apply to 100 places, we might get reply from 1 or 2. So it happens to even some known people in the field, like your faculty members. So you have to be ready for that. There has to be no egoistic sense that nobody is replying. Obviously nobody would reply. You have to, approach to 100 people. Then you might expect one person to reply, because obviously they don't have time. And especially once they don't have time, and secondly, a lot of people are contacting them. So obviously it will not happen, over days time that you will get responses.
Okay, sir. Sir, I just want to know about your research work. As last year, you published your book, and first of all, I'm again congratulating you on behalf of my audience. And tell me about that book. And if someone wants to order that book, where can we order that book? And what was the aim of making book? And you are now an author. How it feels? Like what was the background work? Like how much homework you did to write that book?
To be honest enough, there's a saying that is a blessing in disguise. So it happened that way only. Once the COVID type of stuff happened, so we just were contained in the homes only. So at least for you didn't knew that it will last so long, this COVID thing. So for a week or so, or even for a month or so, days keep on going, and we just keep on waiting for tomorrow. It might be better. Tomorrow it might be better. Once it didn't happen, so I thought I had obviously we had written research papers. We were writing the scientific stuff, but obviously book was a type of a dream that I carried from, I guess, once I started my research. It was a dream, but obviously I had a dream of writing a book which would be published by the best publishers in the world, because this has to be a memorable stuff. Because once whenever you study this, writing a book is always in a dream of researchers.
अगर मैं बात करूँ तो हर एक का, मेरा भी है, हमारे जो क्लासमेट्स हैं उनका भी है.
But I would suggest there, currently there is a lot of stuff going in the market. You just pay people some money and they will publish anything for you. Even you pay people, they will write a PhD thesis for you. So I mean, but there has to be a difference between the genuine thing and this copy type of stuff. But so I had a dream of writing a good book so once I prepared a draft during this COVID time, because we had time. Otherwise, once you come to the university, you have to guide PhD students, you have to teach here, you have to do some administrative stuff as well. Exactly. So you remain involved in the things, and you don't get time for this type of a project. So in COVID times, obviously we got time, and I started writing a draft, and then obviously it was my first such experience. So I approached a couple of publishers, the Cambridge Publishing House in US and the Wiley Publishing House in the US, which to me were the best two possible publishing houses in the world. Obviously they have their set standards, they will not publish any trash. And fortunately enough, both of these publishers accepted to publish that book. Then obviously I had to choose one among them. Then I signed the agreement with the Wiley Publishing House. And then obviously it was not that easy, because they have their set parameters and set standards, and obviously especially once we are from a non-English speaking country, so obviously they need to have their English standards as well. Apart from having the scientific content, they need a proper English standard. Obviously that also takes more time to get it perfect, because they will not accept anything less than 100% perfection. There will be no compromise at all from their end, and it will go through a rigorous review process. Every page, every figure, you must have proper permissions, proper content, and proper referencing. Obviously they have their set standards, but once I started writing this project, maybe there were certain things which I didn't knew, and which I came to know during the process. So it happened, and I was fortunate enough it got published. And one thing I would also suggest to you, obviously there might be two ways always in life. One might be the easiest way, and one might be the difficult way. The easiest way is just write any stuff, get it from somewhere, and pay people, and they will get it published within days. But this book, obviously this took a couple of years of writing, and then some time from their end. But finally, obviously it will then pay you back. One, it will give you a global recognition, because this will be available throughout, and everybody knows the publishing house, everybody knows the standard of the book. One. Second, you will get obviously the royalty as well, a good royalty as well. So that's also the encouraging stuff in this. So this, I would suggest that you're choosing a difficult path, but this does help you. And the last point where you stated that why is it available, I guess they have made it available through all these e-commerce and Amazon, Flipkart. They have made it available. Obviously the cost is on a higher part. I guess they have kept the cost at around 12 or 13,000 rupees.
Okay, so then can you please tell me the target audience whom it should buy? Like I love books to buy. मैं कल को saving करके ले आऊँगा, लेकिन please tell me what is the target audience of the book?
Exactly. See, this book I prepared, this is not for the general course books like BSc course or master's course. Yes, we have in our master's level MSc Physics, we have in 9th and 10th semester, we have a special paper, characterization techniques in 9th and 10th semester. So this book is exactly based on that. So if students are pursuing masters in physics and their specialization is solid state physics or material science for that sake, then this book must be a must buy. And second, those students who are pursuing research, so that is the actual target audience. Those students who are pursuing research in physics, especially in material science or the solid state physics. So this book is a must buy book for them, because once I choose the area of writing a book, I thought that we have, as far as characterization, this might be going to too technical thing, but as far as the characterization techniques are concerned, we had different books which were separately discussing each characterization technique. But once a student joins the PhD program, there was no single book which comprised almost most of the characterization techniques. So this book focused on that. So I requested these, publishing house to, make some low price Indian edition. so that the local people here would be able to, but obviously they declined that. This might be some of their company policy not affect their global sales by making a low price edition book, but at least in our university we're trying to make it possible in the library and other
exactly. I was about to say this.
yeah, we have already in fact a processor that it will make it available in the library, and other libraries will make it available.
Tell me about this mentorship. You said mentorship is very important. How many scholars are under you, and how you mentor them, and what are your research projects like currently? On what are the basic topics, like heading topics, and because अगर detail में जाएंगे तो many people will get bored and they will not get the idea. ऊपर से हम बोलेंगे what are the headings of topics and how many people are working under you.
So as far as research projects are concerned, obviously I received a startup grant from the University Grants Commission of 10 lakh rupees to begin with. Then I received one more research project from, that's also from UGC, which also provides one JRF fellow, and one of my PhD students is working under that project. And then obviously recently, just last month, we have been sanctioned one project from the Inter-University Center of Consortium for Scientific Research Indore. So, and obviously a couple of projects we have submitted to the Science and Engineering Research Board as well. So that stuff is going, and apart from that, currently I am supervising 5 PhD students, and who are mostly working on the double perovskite systems for the energy storage devices and the solar cells. So this is the broad topic on which they are working. A couple of them are working on the theoretical aspects, and while as others are involved in the experimental setup.
Okay, sir. This was about research scholars. What is your approach in teaching bachelor's and master's students? Because I am your student, I find you very different various times, because I believe when we present something in front of you, you are a very decent critic, I can say very positive critic, and we get a lot to learn from you, and we expect we will get learn from teachers like you. So how you build this attitude, and what are the key factors you teach like this?
See, one thing I would like to suggest to you people, maybe tomorrow you might be also teachers somewhere, or even this goes into the scientific writing as well. You should remember that once you speak, that you're not going to impress the audience by speaking good English. So you just start speaking good English, that will not be appreciated by the audience. This is, I guess, one factor where most of the people fall prey to. They start, even while writing, most of the scientific papers get rejected because we start writing, focusing on writing good English. And good English to us, for non-speaking English people, we say good English, we think of writing some complicated stuff. So it doesn't work that way. Even in scientific writing, we have to be as simple English writing as possible, because it should be understood by the reader. Because and similarly, as far as the teaching is concerned, because most of the good researchers might not prove to be good teachers, especially for the students. I guess that communication gap is there, which needs to be worked at, and especially while you speak, you have to speak as simple as possible, not to make it complicated to impress people, because that's, I guess, where the basic gap starts. And secondly, as far as the critique is concerned, just remember, once you go further in your life, this is the only period where somebody will critique you, and it will be a constructive criticism. But after you leave the university, every time it will be an evaluation, because once you appear for a job, there will be no constructive criticism. It will be just your evaluation. Even in your classes here, whether it is presentation or any other stuff, even if a teacher evaluates you or criticizes you, it has to be a constructive criticism, because that will be for your betterment. Because after leaving the university, there will be no scope for that. It will be only evaluation then.
Okay, sir. As you have I can say, great legacy, but we did not come up with your maybe setbacks, or I can say failures. So tell us about your failures. Is Dr. Khalid Sultan, या मैं कहूँ डॉक्टर खालिद सुल्तान को कभी लगा इनसिक्योरिटी अपनी जिंदगी में कि मैं ये कर नहीं पाऊंगा, या वो होता है जैसे अभी मैं फेस करता हूँ कभी, क्या होगा एग्जाम में फेल हो गया? Have you ever faced your experience with that?
See, obviously, it does happen. So I don't want to just romanticize it by saying stuff like that. Everybody faces failures in life, and I too face a certain stuff there. But obviously, you just have to think of a dream you are aspiring for. And these failures, but obviously, these failures are the hard work I do. But I guess that was way small than what God has given me. So you just have to keep that thing in mind, what for you are fighting. Then these sacrifices, these late night studies, these sleepless nights, these doesn't seem to be a big stuff. And obviously failures are always there. I remember once upon a time I was preparing for the medicine, then I just for a couple of marks or 1 mark or so, I wasn't selected there. Obviously it seems that the life ends here. But it doesn't happen that way. You just, and especially for, as I mentioned in the beginning of the discussion as well, especially if you want to pursue science as a career, you need to have patience. It will not happen overnight. So you just have to have a lot of patience. And to me, sincerity is more important than hard work or intelligence there. You just have to be sincere. Then things fall. Sooner or later, it does fall into your plate.
Sir, if someone is a slow learner, I consider myself a slow learner. How should I will talk about myself? How should I approach towards physics or any science subject? Like, उसको कैसे tackle कर पाऊँ क्योंकि I'm a slow learner. What's your opinion on slow learner and if someone quits at this time and goes nowhere again?
I mean, this slow learner, these are just, I guess, the fancy terms we have adopted to. There's nothing, obviously there might be difference in the IQ level of the students. I don't disagree with that. But we have just created an hype what these that a slow learner and stuff like that. Obviously, if the student has a different IQ level, it may take him at least the first. If he accepts it that I'm a slow learner, then at the same time, being a slow learner, and then at the same time, he thinks that I have to do this. Then obviously he have to be ready that it will take me greater efforts, slightly greater efforts at least compared to my other colleague who is a quick learner. So he should be ready to put those extra efforts. There is, no magic which I would tell a slow learner and he'll get it. No. If he's a slow learner, suppose he has to be ready to put extra efforts. That's the basic thing. He has to be ready to put an extra effort compared to his colleague who is a quick learner, and then it is going to happen. He cannot expect that if I'm a slow learner and then I will not even put efforts there. It's not going to happen. So he has to put extra efforts there. He has to be ready for that.
Okay. So at the end, I just want to get your advice on this thing. People or students who are coming in the science field, what would be your advice to them? Or I can say high school students who are in like 11, 12, because we see the decline in the science temple in the community of, in the society of Kashmir, and we see there are very least admission getting in these universities. Like, how to begin? How students should approach for these university examinations and university level for subjects to choose in science?
You actually, better late than never, you touched a serious issue that the trend among these students opting basic sciences for their careers is on a declining trend. And that's true. I guess recently, a couple of days back, in fact, I was invited by one degree college for delivering a talk to these students in general, and I was seriously disturbed to see there were only, I guess, to the best of my knowledge, 17 students only who has opted for physics as their subject in the degree college. Which is a reason to worry. Now, the first thing is, at least the government of India has started some efforts for promoting science among the high school students to opt for science or basic sciences for that sake. In that context, the government of India has, started programs like Inspire programs, where they at least conduct 1 week programs for the students of class 11 or class 12, where they bring scientists from around the globe to discuss with the students. They provide the in-house 1 week program to the students throughout the country, and rigorous process is going where they promote the students to take science as their subject in the basic in their subject as the for the future, maybe at the bachelor's level and continue there onwards. But at the same time, I mean, this is a job of teachers teaching at the high school level or the senior secondary level,
Yes,
to promote science and to motivate students for the taking science as their career prospect. In the and one more thing is there, that you need to show students the opportunities in science as well, which even the students doing masters here are unaware of. There are numerous opportunities in basic sciences, and at least I can tell you with surety that the basic sciences even as of now has got more opportunities compared to most of the professional courses. But there are most of the stuff which we are unaware of. Suppose nobody here knows that how to become a scientist, at least how to get a job of a scientist, because scientist is a job, like an assistant professor or a lecturer is a job. You get scientist a job, scientist as a job. So people don't know how that it is a job as well. Similarly, there are n number of things which people are unaware, and this is, I guess, the responsibility of maybe the DIETS and the SIE, the State Institute of Education, to first educate the teachers, of science teachers, and then these science teachers will promote it and impart it to the students and explore them towards the opportunities in basic sciences as well.
Okay, sir. Sir, as our university, Central University of Kashmir, and especially our department, is offering PG course, master course in physics. So tell me, sir, something about it. Like, I just wanna let people know that our department is now offering masters, because before that it was offering only integrated BSc, MSc. Now in mid it will be offering masters. How will the batch join? Will it continue with this batch who has joined in integrated, or it will be separate batch?
Okay, see, as I mentioned, our department started the work in 2015 for the integrated BSc MSc course in physics. Obviously, I was not part of the department at that time. I was studying myself at that time. But finally, this department started with integrated BSc MSc program in physics with intake capacity of around 40. But down the line in 2019, our Department of Physics at Central University of Kashmir started with the integrated MPhil PhD program, and where 4 students were admitted for the integrated MPhil PhD program. And fortunately, all the 4 students were enrolled under my supervision. Then, obviously, the UGC abolished the MPhil criteria next year, and then from next year onwards, we have a direct PhD program at the Central University of Kashmir. And last year, since we had only 1 vacancy, 1 student joined under me for the direct PhD program. But we used to admit the students for the degree program, the integrated BSc MSc Physics, at +2 level. Because we had one thing in mind, that we need to catch the students fresh, and once they are young and fresh and energetic, we need to catch the students there. Because once the student completes the graduation, then he searches for too many options, and we may not get the best lot in studying physics. So we started the course after 10+2 level in order to attract the best minds towards physics. So this was the main motive of starting the course. Otherwise, in universities, you will have master's course in physics, not the bachelor. So we started with this program, keeping this stuff in mind, that we need to catch the students fresh. So we run the 5-year integrated BSc MSc program, while the students have an option to exit after bachelor's. They can exit and get their BSc and pursue somewhere else. But in due course of time, we saw if we admit some students, say at a BSc level, while after completing MSc, some of them might get job and some of them might get some other opportunities, and we always encourage the students if they get admission in some better universities, and we recommend them. So we are left with some seats. Suppose if we admit 40 students for BSc, once they complete BSc, only maybe 30 students would go for the MSc. Because 10 students on an average, we saw around 10 to 20% students would get either a job after BSc, or they go for other universities. So we thought since our this valley is always at the receiving end, so we thought at least we will give some opportunity to the students for the direct MSc Physics program from this year. But this won't be a separate MSc Physics program. This is a lateral entry type of a stuff, where the leftover seats we have, and we'll conduct an entrance test by the UET, the Central University entrance test, and the leftover seats only. They will be selected through that test, and they will join this batch who is already studying. So it will not be a separate batch.
So they will study with the
They will study with the batch who is already running there.
Yeah. So, sir, I think we will wrap this up here. And at the end, I just want to hear your mantra for students, like in short, what students should be focusing in this age, in this area, in this era. Because as we discussed the distraction thing and social media thing, how a student should maintain undistracted and focused.
I guess one thing I would suggest is that you need to be physically fit first. You need to be physically fit. You need to be mentally fit for focusing here. I guess you should focus more on sports than this social media type of stuff, because on an average, if you see, everybody would be involved with his or her mobile phone. So it is better to play football or cricket for 1 hour than to get stuck with this social media type of stuff, because this distracts it to a level where you are then unable to focus continuously 30 minutes or 40 minutes in a lecture or on a book or for preparing any exam for that sake. So my suggestion would be to remain physically active, to remain physically fit by involving yourself in one or other sport activities. And then, especially if you are seriously interested in taking your career ahead, you have to be, the Allama Iqbal also say that you have to be, you cannot be a part of a crowd and then expect to do, extraordinary things. You have to go above average. You just have to select somebody as your mentor who has excelled in his or her field. And then it will at least open a ray of hope for you. And then by the end of the day, there is no excuse for hard work. Just intelligence won't matter. You might be intelligent, it won't matter. Hard work has to be there. And apart from that, you just have to be sincere, because you just have to keep in mind what I'm getting at. I mean, if you want to at least if you have a dream of becoming a doctor, just think of what life a doctor lives, how luxurious it would be. Just have those type of dreams. The rest will follow then. I guess sincerity has to be there. There is no alternate approach for that.
Okay, sir. Is there as this age, ये तो टॉपिक रह गया. जैसे अगर हमारा कोर्स फिजिक्स है, what should be the other skills which we should pursue with the physics?
I guess, provided like in Europe or US, if the student at the BSc level is already interested in some area of physics as research, then he will start his other minors accordingly. Suppose if a student is interested in nuclear physics, if a physics student at bachelor's level is interested in nuclear physics as a future course of study or research area, then along with physics he should join the courses with which would be make him mathematically more stable, which would provide him programming like the GNU plot, like the C programming or other programmers for that Python for that sake. So he would opt for those things, because those are the fields, the program type, which will help him in carrying out the theoretical studies ahead. Especially if and on the other context, if somebody is interested in material sciences as the future research, I guess he will take chemistry as an optional or chemistry as a minor, because obviously chemistry will be very helpful in him in taking his research ahead. So if a student has that sort of a context earlier in mind, then he will choose the subjects accordingly. The buck stops again here that obviously student at BSc level will not have this much of an idea which minors to choose. So this is where actually a mentor helps. Yes. So this again stops there.
So is there any difference between a teacher and mentor?
Obviously there is. See, I'm coming to the class and I'm teaching all the 40 students, same subject, same lecture, everyone. So I'm a teacher for everyone. But I may not be a mentor there for everyone. So we have also in the last year, we have just allotted 5 students to each teacher. So he was called a mentor teacher, they were mentees. So obviously that is a mentor where you can have one-on-one interaction, where you can discuss individual issues and you can rectify those individual issues. That's a mentor-mentee issue. And the teacher-student is just delivering lecture. It is slightly different.
Actually, sir, can we say that nowadays in this area, we need mentors. We need mentors more than teachers.
Yeah, definitely. Even
because a mentor will indirectly be a teacher, and then he will mentor.
Yeah, on that context, I would like to suggest to you that even our Central University of Kashmir, our Honorable Vice Chancellor last time also, and every department was compelled to start this program where every student from the new batch has to be allotted a mentor teacher. And obviously you cannot have separate mentor for everyone, so we decided that at least a group of 4 students should have one mentor teacher who would obviously mentor them in various events or happenings of the future course of study. So we prepared in fact that, and it is already in place there.
So then at the end I just wanna say the concluding remarks to the audience. It was a great session. I loved it, and inshallah we will often do these things. And this is the beginning of my podcast career, and I'm greatly thankful. ये मेरे दिल से निकल रहा है सर, क्योंकि ये प्लेटफॉर्म मिलना, this is also your mentoring. This is a real example. सर रियल टाइम में मुझे मेंटर कर रहे हैं, क्योंकि आई टोल्ड सर कि सर मुझे पॉडकास्ट रिकॉर्ड करना है. He said okay, टाइम बताओ, come to my office, and we are sitting Khalid Sir's office, in Khalid Sir's office, and I'm just recording this, and this is going to be in my resume. This is going to be my in my inshallah I'm documenting this in my journey. So with this thing, that brings us to the end of today's podcast. I would like to express our sincere gratitude to Dr. Khalid Sultan for joining me and sharing his insights on physics and science and how to find mentor. And what is the importance of mentor in life. So if you have any feedback, you can comment down, or I'm available on social media. Even I will provide the link of my mentors, Khalid sir's link in the description. You can, if you have any query, you have any question, you can contact him. You can also contact me with this thing. See you in some other vlogs. See you in some other podcasts. Take care. Bye.